Hello, everyone. My name is Alison Hobbs, and today I will be presenting to you my project entitled Bringing Artistry into the Competitive Dance World. So before I dive into my presentation, I would like to do a brief overview of what I will be talking about. So at first, I will be discussing the components of dance competitions and why I chose to focus on them specifically. And then I will be going into the research and the methods that I did for this project. And then I will be showing a little bit of my final composition of my choreography for this project. And then for my conclusion, I will discuss the question, are dance competitions able to include artistry? So to start off, I will talk about the components of dance competitions. So there are several constant themes in competitions that I have observed, and a lot of the similarities are between the dances that are performed. So there is a lot of one-sided flexibility in all of these dances, and you know how people are either right-handed or left-handed when they write. There's kind of a similar thing with dancers. So some favor the right side, some favor the left, but most favor the right. So in the dances performed, a lot of the tricks and the turns are all done with the right side. So it doesn't really show the versatility of both right and left. And there's also very elaborate tricks in these pieces. So you see back handsprings, back tucks, aerials, many turn sequences. It's very flashy and not very focused on the movement quality. So this ties into the next theme, which is choreography is flashy. And so this causes a disconnect between the dancer and the dance. And this isn't anything particularly wrong, but the meaning behind dance and the artistry doesn't seem to be the main focus anymore when seeing these dances on stage. So more about the reason why I chose dance competitions specifically. They are very, very expensive. Parents tend to spend thousands and thousands of dollars just for their children to go and participate in these competitions. There are entry fees, fees for the parents to come watch. Each dance costs its own amount of money to perform, and then they have to pay for the costumes, for the makeup, for the shoes. There's also merchandise sold outside of the auditorium, and there's also professional photography and videography. So families, parents, studio owners have to buy those as well. So companies have capitalized off of dance instead of dance just being an art form. And then there's also a lot of pressure for the children to win at these competitions. So this becomes very, very ingrained in these young children's brains. And this takes away from the meaning of dance. So they're dancing to win, not dancing just to dance. There's also a gender bias within dance competitions. And typically male identifying dancers aren't as common as female identifying dancers. So at first, when a male comes on stage, they typically are scored higher just because they are a male. So they end up winning over the females, even if the female's technique is better. And then their dance competitions build community. And most of the time, this is in a healthy way by children forming long-lasting friendships, they're bonding, they're getting their energy out in a creative and healthy way. They're creating connections with professionals if they ever wanted to go into the professional field. But sometimes this can be harmful because children are comparing themselves to one another, people become very competitive, and they start becoming mean, and that can be when the environment becomes unhealthy. But for me, I would like to change competition dance and bring artistry back into it. So in order to do this, I started doing research by collecting different score sheets from various competitions, and I ended up creating my own, as you can see here to the right. And then I read several articles containing thoughts and information about dance competitions. And then I also viewed winning routines from various dance competitions to see what a winning routine consists of, so that way I could create my own. And then creating my own, I needed to have a theme. So I decided on the idea of life and how everyone goes through moments where their lives intersect with one another, and that leaves an impact on them that they take throughout their lives. So this is more of a theoretical theme rather than a narrative theme. And my process for this was me having rehearsals once a week for 2 hours, and I ended up adding about 1 to 2 minutes during each of those rehearsals, depending on how focused we were. And then I challenged myself to choreograph once a week because I do choreograph slow. So this challenged me in a good way, and I feel like it'll help me in the future when I do end up creating more dances for competitions. And then my final composition of this focused on the different dance elements from dance competitions, as well as the concepts from concert dance that I have learned here at college. And so here I will be showing you a little bit of my final piece, because my piece is 8 minutes long. This is about 2.5 minutes. And so it is entitled Comprised of Moments. So I hope you enjoy this. All right, so now I will move on to my conclusion and discussing the question, can artistry be incorporated into dance competitions? So with my piece, I sent it out to 3 different judges, because at competitions we have 3 judges typically judging the pieces. And so the total score of my piece landed being about the gold category. And so technically my choreography is almost winning worthy, but with a little bit more work, it can make it to the high gold category. And so there are some dances that I have seen in my research that focus more on the artistry. They are just a lot harder to find and they're not really common. And if there can be a balance between that flashy dancing and then the artistry, that would be one step closer to focusing on the meaning of dance. And so that's all I have. Thank you, everyone.